Welcome to Hoffmann-Photography. My name is Rainer and the topic of today's video is the basic mode of operation of the autofocus system of our cameras. Don't worry, I won't bother you with the technical details of how the autofocus system measures the distance to a subject or what the inner workings of an autofocus lens are. That's not really important for taking pictures, so let's just accept that the autofocus does its job. But the autofocus works in a particular way that many beginners are not aware of. So let's have a closer look at the autofocus and how it ticks. The autofocus system of modern cameras can be designed very differently, but the general principle is always the same. Even if, as in this example, a camera has many different focus points, the small gray squares, it always focuses on the object closest to the camera. So, in this case, on the bouquet of flowers. For better clarity, here is a camera with only 9 focus points. The red open rectangles symbolize active focus points. But the principle remains the same. The autofocus always focuses on the object closest to the camera. When you press the shutter release button, the autofocus starts working, and as soon as the rectangles light up red, the autofocus has focused and the picture can be taken. However, if you want the figure in the background to be sharp, it simply won't work this way and you have to find another method. There are basically 2 ways to do this. The first method is to deactivate all the focus points except for one point that is directly on the object you want to focus on. In this case, it is the right focus point. The yellow focus points are disabled. When you press the shutter button, only the right focus point will work and the figure will be in focus even though it is farther away from the camera than the bouquet of flowers. However, there is a small hitch. The camera will use the activated focus point until the end of its days. So, if you forget to reactivate all the other focus points, your camera will always focus somewhere to the far right, in our example. And you will be surprised by many photos where the focus is not where you want it to be. And that's why I prefer the second method. The second method uses only the center focus point. To focus on the figure in the background, just pan the camera so that the center focus point is on the figure. As soon as you press the shutter button halfway down, the camera focuses but does not release the shutter. As long as the shutter button remains half pressed, the camera maintains the original focus. You then pan the camera back until the desired framing is achieved. Then you can take the picture by pressing the shutter release button fully. The advantage of this method is that you no longer have to remember to reactivate the other focus points. Once you get used to using the center focus point only, the process will become second nature. I very much prefer this method. Activating a specific autofocus point takes so much longer than just panning the camera and panning it back. And I tend to forget to reactivate all the other focus points. My age, I guess. Note, however, that this method works for static subjects only. And here's a word of caution. If your camera has face recognition, then you may want to disable it. In some cameras, face recognition overrides all the other autofocus settings, and whenever there is a face in the frame, even small and in the background, the camera will focus on that face. Of course, there is much more to say about the autofocus, but I think it's worth to know this basic behavior of the autofocus system. That's it for today and thanks for watching.